Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
I hear you, Mara. Hey, Brian, how are you? Yeah, well, I think you just muted yourself, Brian. So maybe try unmuting. Colleen, I hear you or see you, or I know you're there. How about that? I don't see you, but I know you're there.
Hi, Bob. I'm here.
Hey, Colleen, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. I know Mara's there. Brian, are you there? We see his standard stock photo, but we don't see, we don't hear him at this point. So maybe he stepped away. So that could be. We'll give everybody a couple minutes. I know it's been 3 weeks since we met last, and there are we'll have things happening right now, you think? Colleen, how are you guys doing? What are you guys up to in your arena?
We are still doing closings. We are not allowing agents or lenders to come in with their client to do closings. We're trying to do as many offsite as possible. As a matter of fact, I've been handling a lot of the mobile closings.
Yeah, I bet. Are you guys set up for that remote online notary yet?
We do have that through one of our Qualia programs. We can do that. I personally have not done it, but it's being done. Right.
Good. I know that's certainly an option for people to. Some of our people are utilizing that, which makes complete sense. I don't know if you guys. Hey, Brian, can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you too.
Okay. It froze up on me when it first opened, so I don't know why.
Oh, no problem. I think Zoom might be a little overwhelmed right now. I think it's all good for them, but I'm not so sure they were totally ramped up for the volume of business they're going to be experiencing here.
Not at all.
So, but that's all good. So, and there's Manny. Hey, Manny.
You know what? You're muted.
How are you guys doing?
Doing great. Hey, I don't know. You got your hair cut. Yeah, I'm saying. You know what? Manny, last time he was on one of these, he wouldn't put his camera on because he said he was looking a little shabby.
I went out and got the haircut yesterday.
Well, you do it quick. All right. Make sure. Did you take the temperature of the barber before he did it?
I did not. But I did hand him a business card.
That's good. See,
Nice.
like, you got a network wherever you go. That's beautiful. That's a great thing. So let me see if I'm sharing my screen. Can you guys see my screen right now?
Yes, we see it.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can pull this up. I know this was didn't take us with this meeting didn't take us by surprise per se, but it's been 3 weeks, and so sometimes people, and a lot of times I know my younger son is just getting my older son's been doing virtual school for a couple of years now through Florida Virtual School. So this is like a business as usual for him. My younger son is in a brick and mortar here in Orlando, and they're transitioning to virtual for the at least foreseeable future. So today's their first live day of actual classes virtually. So they're learning all the steps. My younger son had done virtual school before, so he's kind of familiar with it, but I think they're going through some learning curves in there. I hear him. I told him to come get me in an extreme emergency. It is because I'm down here with Samuel in Orlando, and Jeanette and Joseph are up in Nashville. So we're
I'm about to do a webinar.
isolated and spread out a little bit. So it's all good.
Is this session 3, or are we supposed to be on session 4?
This is, it is session 4. Let's do this.
Good.
We are on session 4. Thanks for catching that. I amended it from session 3, and I just used the same slide. So then I save it as session 4.
Gotcha.
But very good point. So good catch. I didn't change the title slide. So now we are on session 4. Before we get started, just FYI too, I've been doing virtual office hours. Normally we do them Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and they become more popular. So I'm doing them every day now. So we're going to shorten this one. I need to be off of this by about 10:55, 10:58. So then I can then switch my Zoom session to office hours from 11 to 12. And you're more than welcome to come back to that one if you want, but we should be able to knock out some of the information that we have here. So I want to, first of all, let's take about a couple minutes, and we kind of got an update from Colleen. If you guys can see Colleen, Colleen is with Guju Law and is it Equity National? Is that the official name of the title company, Colleen?
Yes, Equity
Okay.
National Title.
And she gave us an update that you guys are still doing closings. Tell us a little bit more in case a couple people came on.
We are still doing closings. The lenders and the agents are not allowed in the office with their clients. They're welcome. Sit in the car. Some of them are doing the video, the FaceTime while their client's closing, so at least they're still there. We do have the capability of doing online remote notary. I've also been going out, so if any of you in the area, I'm in the Palm Harbor, Pinellas County area, need a notary, please let me know. You can get a hold of me. I can leave my information with Bob, I guess, or put it on the 100K Club. So if you do need a notary, I'm here for you, and we're going strong.
Awesome. Good deal. Perfect. Brian, how are you? Just it doesn't have to be business-wise, just personally, and maybe how's everything going? We got a smaller group, so that's good. We can kind of catch up a little bit.
Everything's good. So the week after the last class, I did a open house, and I had one real potential, but now with the virus, they don't really want to look at anything. I haven't done an open house since. My sister's a doctor actually, and when I was telling her I was going to be throwing open houses, she was like,
Yeah.
You know, it's not the best idea to do that right now. You don't want to get people sick. You don't want to get sick yourself. You just want to contain this as much as possible. So I decided against throwing open houses until further notice.
I concur 100% that at this point, I think we need to all do our part. And that's why you're going to see in our slides, we're not going to cover any corn planting. We're going to just focus mostly on orange groves. I do think if we can, my own personal opinion, if we can hunker down for a short duration, we could probably knock this out. We've got some really smart people like your sister.
Yeah, that's what she was saying. She was saying if everyone would just stay home, like it would just knock itself out quickly and then it's back to normal. But,
right.
You know, people want to do what they want to do.
I know. It's kind of a little sad that, you know, we're being asked to do our part for the country, and it means sit home with, you know, chips and salsa and Netflix binge while our, you know, our grandparents were, you know, stopped being teachers to go become snipers, right, in World War II. And we think we're all, you know, really dedicating our lives to the cause. I think they might laugh at us a little bit, and probably are laughing at us a little bit, the way we're freaking out. So that's good. We're going to have some things here later. I'm going to have some suggestions, some things that maybe you can do, kind of tidy up your business, right? Some things that take advantage of this time to regroup. I am going to encourage you to you'll see here in a bit, to focus on some of the orange growth stuff that maybe got pushed on the back burner because we're too busy trying to, you know, plant corn to get the next commission, which I totally get. And see if we can, again, find a way to be productive during this time and do it. And all, you know, unique situations, right? I mean, our contract is not designed to handle pandemics, right? We're learning that there's a great debate. I'm sure Colleen Mike would have his opinion of this, but you get 10 attorneys in the room, you're going to get 5 that will say, yes, this is a force majeure item, and 5 that will say, no way, it's not covered in the force majeure section. So just so you know, every time I'm talking to a group of agents, I'm getting it out there that there is no settled case law regarding this, that we don't have a definitive answer. So if your clients are saying, hey, look, doesn't the seller have to automatically extend it because my buyer's lender can't verify employment right now, right? Because they're shut down, right? Well, we would think that would be a force majeure kind of thing, right? We're a little more familiar with force majeure here in Florida because we dust it off every June through November anyway, when hurricane season, is in play. I'm on some, matter of fact, I've got a conference call today at 4:00 with top 75 brokers in the country, right? And we represent about 30% of the agent population of realtors across the country. And we're getting an update from NAR on things that they're doing and what they're hearing from Capitol Hill. And by the way, rest assured that there are no guarantees on anything yet because the bill hasn't come out. But NAR and Florida realtors both are definitely at the table fighting for every right they possibly can for independent contractors to be considered as part of any stimulus package and so on and so forth that comes out. So again, there's nothing settled yet, but know that we have a seat at the table, and we've got a pretty prominent seat, by the way, because 1.4 million people, they listen, and we're pretty active. So just as an FYI, so things are coming along. But and it's a fluid situation, right? Everything kind of moves back and forth pretty quickly. You haven't seen a ton of emails or any emails from me actually going out to the Future Home Realty family, just because I'm tired of seeing 48 emails a minute, right, coming in anyway. And I know you guys are as well. And things are moving so rapidly. Later on, I'm gonna point you to some sites that I think would be good for us to monitor specific to real estate that can keep us updated. Maybe check them once a day or something, kind of thing. See where we are. So cool. Well, thanks for the update, Brian. You know what? And we'll get to the slide here in a minute after we talk to Manny. So Manny, what's up, man?
What's up? Not much. The only thing I can say is my sale from that foreclosure open house. Remember, we even talked about it yesterday. I actually never called the attorney because something that I didn't realize, when they did the counter offer, remember I was panicking a little bit because I thought that the closing was yesterday.
Yeah.
Not yesterday, but Monday.
Yeah.
And there was a little blurb on their counter offer, which it was the same offer I did. They had just added $100 per diem. They changed the date. I didn't see that they had changed from 23 to 27, which would be Friday.
Got it.
So once I was made aware of that, the panic ended. And so everything's on schedule to close on Friday.
On Friday? Good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So the pig house is going to be sold.
Beautiful. Good deal. Well, awesome. That's great news. Well, cool. Yeah. All right, let's get down to business so I can get through these, make sure we're done before I have to jump off. So I want to be encouraging on some things. So obviously, first slide, orange groves now more so than ever, right? Because if we're going to be prohibited from planting corn, right, then we better have another crop to be able to deal with, right? And if you remember, our theories are corn is fast, but that's new business coming in, people I don't know today, right? I think we're going to have a temporary hiatus on that. By the way, I've got a financial background. I get a lot of information from that as well. Got some good information I can share with you at the end about predictions of where and how we're going to slide out of this, that we are going to have a pretty steep decline in GDP, of course, in Q2. But there's already analysis out on how China, for instance, their housing is a totally different market than ours, yet there are numbers, and they're probably about 6 or 8 weeks ahead of us, right, in this whole thing, and how they're coming out and how it compares over this last 4 years. There's an interesting statistics out of where they get in. So if you're looking to try to project what the market might look like, 2 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, 6 weeks from now, maybe potentially 10 weeks from now, there's some good analysis there, and I'll share that with you in a minute. So, but in that short term, let's focus on some things like this too shall pass, right? We can get very psychological about this, spiritual if you like, to know that that they're it's all going to be okay. All right. Your main priority is keep yourself safe, right? Make sure you're doing anything you can do to not contribute to the problem. I don't know if you guys have been on the other sessions, but I sharing with a guy, there's a pastor I follow out of Dallas called Tony Evans, African-American guy, great guy. And he put out something just saying, hey, look, we've got rational concern on one side, all right, and irrational worry on the other, all right? And where's that line between the two, right? And rational concern are things, he puts them in the bucket of things that I can control, right? So I should be rationally concerned about whether I wash my hands like they're asking me to, right? I should be rationally concerned about, am I practicing, I'm not calling it social distancing, I'm calling it physical distancing. Because quite frankly, we are socially interacting right now, right? So we're not distancing ourselves socially, we're physically distancing ourselves because that's what we've been told to do, right? And we ask that you comply with that, but I don't think we have to socially distance because we have things like this, right? We've got Zoom sessions going almost all day long just for people to have a chance to interact with each other because I think there's catharsis. It's cathartic, right? It's good to be able to do. So so that I can control, right? Whether or not I'm going to physically distance myself like they asked me to. Am I going to take care of myself physically while I'm in this hiatus, right? I'm going to find a way to, you don't need to have a gym membership to, lift bags of rice or whatever if you don't have weights at home, or do push-ups and sit-ups and everything else just to keep yourself, active and moving. Go outside, take a walk. They are allowing us definitely to do that. They're encouraging it actually to stay, distance back. But I saw a meme today, story. It was a picture of Winnie the Pooh and Piglet, right? And Pooh turns his head and says, "Hey, Piglet, get that blank back," because Piglet's usually right on his heels, right? So I thought it was kind of funny. That's the rational concern. We should be concerned about things we can control, but we don't want it to jump the line and be irrationally worried about things we can't control, right? So I shouldn't be worried about how the doctors in Italy are handling the crisis. Out of my control, right? I can't handle that. And so where we draw that line, I think it's healthy for us to make sure we have those boundaries in place, right? Because we don't need to wake up at 2:30 in the morning worried about what's going on in Wuhan, China, right? It's, out of my control. I'm not there, right? But what can I control? Well, I'm gonna make sure my kids, we wipe down their, electronics equipment, on a regular basis. And I don't know about you, personally, just FYI, I'm getting stuff delivered to the house, right? As far as groceries and those kind of things, whatever they have, right? It's funny, I put 22 things on the list and I'll get 4, right? Or whatever it is. And that's all okay. But when I get them, I have a little staging area, right? It shows up at the door. I kind of wave to the delivery guy through the glass. I say, "Hey, good to see you." I let them walk away. As soon as they walk away, I get my Lysol out and I spray that bad boy down before it even comes in the house, right? And then I open the box with gloves on and then spray that down, everything that's inside. It's just, because you don't know what's been touched. Am I hyper on that? It's just that there's no need, right, to spread it unnecessarily if I can close it down. I'm trying to do my part. Anyway, that being said, we don't need to worry about things we can't control, but let's be concerned about the things we can. Fair enough? Cool. All right. So set a goal. Here's a thought. Set a goal to reach out to your sphere, your database, if you will. And I put a number in there of 150 max over the next 15 days. All right. It's literally 10 a day, right? If you had it. If you had 150, if you only got 15, then you can probably just do 1 a day, right? And once again, remember, we're not reaching out. This is kind of revisiting our Orange Grove stuff. We're not reaching out to say, "Hey, by the way, I'm sure things are tough on you right now. They're tough on me too. Who do you know that's looking to buy?" Right? It's not what they want to hear, right? It's not likely to happen necessarily anyway, right? They have other things on their mind. So since they have other things on their mind, let's find out what's on their mind, right? And how can I help, right? hey, you know what, Colleen, you know, outside of your your other business, your title, what you do, I know your husband owns a restaurant, man. I mean, and how's that affecting you? That's got to be rough. How are you guys doing? Are you doing okay? And is there anything I can, in my limited ability to get out, but is there anything I can do to help?
Thank you for asking, Bob. I appreciate that. It has been very difficult. My husband last week he found out at 10 to 3 that the restaurant had to close and be takeout only. And that was when all of our employees were showing up to work. So he had to make a very difficult decision right then and there as they're all walking in the door expecting to work that night. And we had to lay all of them off so they could collect unemployment. Mm-hmm. So we're starting takeout this evening. Mm-hmm. And guess who is going to be the sous chef with my husband tonight?
Nice, good
so
deal.
I'll be stepping up and doing that until further notice, and we're going to make it happen. So
well, and let me ask you this, because I'd love to promote it. Are you guys, and this is no offensive, what precautions are you? I mean, my concern about doing takeout is, okay, how do I know the people that are touching my takeout aren't infected, right? You know what I mean?
Correct.
So
that's why my husband and I are doing this together, because we are not.
Perfect.
And we'll be taking every precaution from, back to the front. So
awesome. Good deal. Yes. That's great. And that's the Mystic Fish in Palm Harbor, right? Yes. If you guys are looking for some good takeout and want to do that, that's Colleen and her husband. What's your husband's name again, Colleen?
Doug.
Have that. So that's awesome. So, but just that right there is the kind of interaction that you should be having with your sphere. Right?
Yes.
Is, hey, you know what? It's not, I guarantee this, there are stories coming out of our virtual office hours. I'm going to use her as an example. Colette Duke is one she's a, and we'll talk about this here in a minute too, about some of the things I'm going to challenge you to do. But she lives in Seminole Heights, which is in that area of Tampa. It's kind of that up and coming, revitalized area that are, kind of real hip. It's kind of the hip place to live kind of thing. They're redoing all bungalows and they're redoing them all, making them all nice and look great. She also has an Airbnb. She lives there and has some Facebook groups that she kind of is in charge of, right? One thing that they're doing is their neighborhood, because they've got this group. One thing they call it, well, I wrote it down, it's called a bear hunt. Because all the kids, people with kids that are at home now, a lot of them are taking their kids out for walks, right? Because that's, just to get them out of the house and do that. And as they're going on their walks, the whole neighborhood has decided to put up stuffed animals in different windows of their house. So the kids, while they're going for a walk, can be on a bear hunt and look for the different animals in the windows, right? But those kind of things that you organize, that they're also, I think this Friday night, they're all doing a virtual fire pit, right? They're all going to have some, going to sit around a fire pit, and someone's going to have an actual fire pit going. They're all just going to have their favorite beverage of choice and socially interact, because they're distanced physically, but they're still going to socially interact. One other thing I was mentioning with her Airbnb is that there is a group out there that's promoting people who have empty Airbnbs right now, which they are, right? She has this cottage. She's offering it up to health professionals that are serving the needs of our community, but don't want to go home to possibly infect their families. And so she's allowing a nurse to stay there indefinitely for free until that kind of stuff. It's not why she does it. She does it because it's the right thing to do, right? But do you think that nurse potentially is going to sing her praises when we come out of this down the road? Absolutely, right? So those are the kind of things, if we can get creative, right? I would love to see us get as creative on solutions like that as we are in our memes about this coronavirus. By the way, there's some pretty funny ones out there. If you haven't seen the memes, you see the one that came out, I saw it for the first time yesterday, said, "Holy smokes, man, I used to spin that toilet roll like it was the Wheel of Fortune. Now I turn it like I'm cracking a safe." I thought that was great. I was laughing. Anyways, it's just look for ways that you can, reach out to people and be of service to them. And if nothing else, you don't have to, no one's looking for you to blow smoke and sunshine up their backside, right? And hopefully you're not getting that from me. Hey, look, I'm a realist, right? but I'm going to help us, guide through this and say, here's what we can do, right? And here's ways that we can prepare. So when we come out, and I think when we come out, by the way, in my opinion, apples and oranges between this and 2008 and 2009, right? 2008 and 2009, I was there, right? And there were we were the cause, not we, but the real estate was one of the major causes of the downturn, right? We had systemic problems in the way we were structured, right? We were doing risky loans with money that shouldn't have been lent on houses that were overappraised, and it was just a house of cards waiting to crumble, right? And that's what happened. Here, totally out of our control, right? We've essentially, and if we can envision the flow of free commerce as a river, we've put a dam in there intentionally because we've had to for safety and health reasons, right? But in my opinion, we've got pent up demand, right? Now, don't get me wrong. Doug would tell me, hey, Bob, I love that idea, but I'm never going to get these 14 days back in this year. I get it, right? You're not, right? And if 2 weeks out of 52 weeks is 126, which is pushing, 4% of a volume of a restaurant, right? I totally get that, right? However, I know myself, boy, once they give us the all clear, I'm just going to go drive around and shake people's hands because I can. Right? And that may be a little while. I may just do hand waves for a while when they say all clear, just to make sure, right? But once we're really all clear, it's there. So just find ways that you can reach out and be of help and say, hey, you know what, Manny, anything I can do to help you through to this closing on the 27th, let me know. If you're getting stuck and the title company all of a sudden saying, hey, look, we can't do it because we don't have a notary, then I'm going to hook you up with Colleen, who's going to say, hey, look, we could jump in there and help you out, right? Or whatever. We'll connect you. So anything we can do to reach out to our sphere and find out how we can be of service and maybe have some good avenues or some resource. If they've got young kids, then you might want to have a few websites that you've researched that, hey, look, here's some things that maybe help them, have fun online, but also learn something, right? Or whatever, right? Just get creative in that. Are you with me? Right? So cool. All right. Now I'm going to ask you to educate yourself, and here's a couple of things, and we're going to talk about our to-do list here at the here at the end. FHR University, right? If you haven't been on, all right, we've got a ton of stuff there, right? It's not like we were planning for this, but it's just the way we're structured, right? We are uniquely structured to be ready for something like this, right? Zoom is not new to us, right? I got other real estate brokers are out there that are pulling their hair out just trying to find out how to log into Zoom, right? And I get it, but we've been doing this for a couple years, right? So, I'm going to encourage you that, spend some time. Let's revisit our contract, right? Let's make sure, if nothing else, there's no reason for us not to come out of this 2 or 3 weeks from now better educated in our field than we were when we went in. All right. So, and part of that is setting a schedule for your day and not allowing your day to get out of control, right? To really have some time blocking, more so now than ever. All right. Tim, we're going to have Zoom sessions quite a bit. The best place, just so you know, is to go to the FHR calendar. And you guys know where to find that. That's on our Future Home Realty website. There's a backdoor login, right? Where you would say log in as an agent, right? So you log in, and then on the calendar, that's where we will keep the most recent, up-to-date. Mara does a good job of posting any Zooms on the Facebook pages, but not all of our agents are on the Facebook pages. So that's the best place to find them. So again, if you've got other things to do, great. And some of these, quite frankly, I got people logging into the virtual office hours and say, hey, great, got a question? They're like, no, I just need I'm here for therapy. Right? I just want to see somebody else, right? I'm tired of, you guys see the one about day 3 of homeschooling. Day 3 of homeschooling my 2 children. One's suspended, one's expelled, and the teacher's been fired for drinking on the job. which it's kind of funny. So there's people freaking out a little bit about them. Give them some relief, and that's what this. By the way, these Zoom sessions, if nothing else, if you're in that situation, gives you a good reason to dismiss yourself from your kids. Hey, sorry, I got a meeting I have to attend, right? And you're basically saying, I need to go get a little Zen going, right? I need to have some adult interaction, if that's the case, all right? NAR, I don't know if you guys can see, here it is, nar.realtor, that's the National Association of Realtors site. If you're looking for legal updates, right? If you're looking for information on, hey, how should I handle some of these, what is force majeure really going to cover me here in this, right? Both NAR and floridarealtors.org have good information out there, right? I will tell you right now, the floridarealtors.org video on the coronavirus, COVID-19, is A, a little dry, but B, informative, but C, informative to the point they're saying, hey, look, this is all new and we don't know. Right? And so just bear that in mind, but it's a good spot. Maybe check that, right? Check both of these just once a day. Just, hey, any updates I need to know about the way I should be handling my business. Okay, fair enough. Does that make sense? Right? Here's one. If you're looking for some Inman news, I'm going to see if I can escape a second. I'm going to minimize this for a moment. Like I pulled up. Do you guys subscribe to Inman? I think it's free to GTAR members, right? I'm not 100% sure. I have a free thing, and right now they're probably offering really good deals anyway, right? But these are just some articles from yesterday, right? 5 steps to a successful virtual listing presentation, right? So educate yourself on stuff like that, because it may be a new norm for a short time, but a new norm for us, right? So be aware and learn from people that are out there, doing it, right? So I'll tell you this, I don't do listing presentations, but I do agent presentations. And when I say that, what does that mean? Agent presentations are when agents are looking to join us, right? Well, Jim's doing a ton, but I signed 3 new agents up last week via Zoom, right? I sent them my private meeting link. We had a great one-on-one. I shared with them everything we could do at Future Home, and boom, boom, boom. They're like, hey, yeah, why wouldn't I? Yeah, this is great, right? Especially in a time like this, somebody who's able to adapt and do it, it was like a no-brainer. So still learn, right, to adapt to the current situation. Here's another one, just based on what we were just talking about. 7 tips for communicating with your sphere during the crisis, right? Now, again, I'm not vouching for everything that's on these articles, but Inman, and Inman doesn't write any new articles. They just are a compiler. They're like, any political blogs that do nothing but compile stuff, right? So they don't write new content. They just compile content and kind of scan it to try, and it's a good source to go to. So there's good information out there. So I'm going to encourage you to check out Inman News as well. All right. Let's see. Let's get back to my PowerPoint. Last one. This one I just discovered 2 days ago. So the book we read, right, was called 7 Levels Communication, right, with Michael Mayer, right? Well, Michael has a group called the Generosity Generation, and just Monday he launched what's called, I think it's called the Daily Dose, and it's like a dose, like a pill, right? And I think every day, at least for the next 2 weeks, he's got a different expert that's going to be on from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern, sharing different types of ideas. And they actually have some action plans and some ways that, hey, look, now that you've seen this, here's your assignment based upon this, what we just learned, a way to go. And it's going to be very much Orange Grove related, because that's what we kind of built our Orange Grove around, was Michael's book, right? But let me see if I can, let's go back again. See if I can jump onto Facebook real quick. Let's see if that group is there. Where are my groups? Let's see if I usually check in on my phone, so I apologize. Can't see it. Anyway, check it out. If you go back, to I think it's called, the page is called exactly this: Generosity Generation, winning the referral game. I'm going to encourage you, if you know, it would be a great thing for you guys to do to monitor that and maybe attend some of those sessions. It's not just Michael, he's bringing in other experts. That I guess yesterday one of our agents shared that they had a lady who about 5 years ago started a Facebook group for her kind of neighborhood and now has like 4,000 people in the group, right? And when you become the admin of a group, it becomes very powerful, right? And she doesn't do it, and she doesn't promote herself as business, but she gets a ton. I think the number that my agent told me, this agent told Michael, if you can follow that, right, that she's done over the last 5 years, because directly attributed to this group is 25 million in volume over the last 5 years, directly related to that. So he's bringing on people like that have got creative to do it. So I'm going to encourage you to join that Facebook group, okay? Right now, if you remember our last time, we talked about our 4 rituals, right? Go back and revisit those. No better time than now to make sure you're doing your morning ritual. Okay, don't allow yourself to get lazy during this time. Manny, I know, doesn't, because he was so panicked about not having his hair cut. He was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do, right? So that's beautiful, right? But have your morning ritual. Pre-leave ritual might be a little amended, but still don't be afraid to set up a 1st and 10 for the next day, right? That's part of the time blocking. Visualization and prayer, let's really not read the latest update on the pandemic before we try and sleep, right? That's all I can encourage you to do, right? For me, I pray, say, hey, God, take care of it overnight, all right? And wake me up to good news in the morning, right? That's all I want to hear, right? And then the Sunday night ritual, we still have to have a plan. I mean, some people are learning more so than ever. Here's the other funny meme about homeschoolers, right, is that we're about 3 days away from all the parents finding out that it wasn't the school's fault and wasn't the teacher's fault. Right? Also, the ones who like to, my kid's not learning because of you. Well, now you're it, and like, oh, my kid's not learning because they're an idiot, right? Or they not an idiot mentally, an idiot like in they refuse to stay focused in class time and so on and so forth. So it's kind of funny. So just remind you of that. And then here's some suggestions, right? I'm going to encourage you to do your morning ritual every day, right? I'm going to encourage you to do the pre-sleep ritual. We just did that. These are your tasks, right? Again, the pre-leave ritual is specific to the 1st and 10. Time block, still I'm telling you, it's going to be more imperative than others. We talked about it in some of our intro classes when we launched these. There's a reason Netflix and Prime, and I'm not part of these other newer ones like Disney and these other streaming services, but why when you're watching a series, the next episode starts automatically, right? I'm telling you, right? There's logic behind that, right? And so if you're going to do it, if you're going to binge watch something, great, time block it, right? Make sure there's a balance in your life to what you're doing. Fair enough, because you still have to be productive. Still, again, eat right. My goal is to come out of this healthier, stronger than when I went into my quarantine, if you will, right? I really do. I'm blessed. I've got a rowing machine and a really high-end treadmill. I got weights here. I'm blessed, right? But if not, still find a way, right? There are things that you can do to get creative to make sure you're taking care of your body. Attend FHR Zoom sessions. Again, I noted here, we're calling it physical distancing, not social distancing, right? Take advantage. And if there's other groups that are meeting that you want to do. By the way, Zoom is really inexpensive. I know we're supposed to be cutting expenses right now, and that's great. But if you want to connect with your sphere, sometimes, I think there's a free version of it that doesn't cost a thing, that you can have up to like 10 people at a time on a meeting time. Right? I think they limit it to just like only 30 minutes long. You don't want to be longer than that anyway, right? So investigate that. Maybe, hey, look, you know what? Some of my clients, like Manny, it seems like I can't get these people to come through on this closing, right? Because some hurdle's been thrown up. Sometimes a face-to-face really seals the deal. And it doesn't have to be a physical face-to-face, right? We can still be eyeball to eyeball, right? Even though I know we're doing it through pixels right now, but we're doing it at least live. Fair enough, okay? Educate yourself daily. Okay, look at those, like I said, Inman, Michael Mayer's group, NAR and FAR, all right? FHR University, make sure you have a time slot in there for that. Shower and dress daily, right? Everybody I can see looking great, all right? No, Manny, no? You're not showering and dressing daily? All right, sorry. But everybody's looking good, right? And that's great. I'm gonna encourage you to continue to do that. Right? It's there's something psychological. If you remember back, Manny, did you come out of the military arena?
No, I did not.
Okay.
It's just the haircut.
Okay, just the haircut. Very good. Little wash and wear. It's easy to go. That's great. There was that great video that was out from I think it was like the highest ranking rear admiral in the Navy many years ago. There was a great video, and his whole challenge was make your bed every day, right? There's something about when you get up and you say, hey, you know what? I am not going to allow life to get out of control, right? And, whether you make your bed every day but mentally, right? We want to get up and say, hey, I'm going to attack the day. I'm not going to let the day attack me. Fair enough. So that's my encouragement to you. Get an accountability partner. If Michael Mayer, I think in this whole daily dose thing that he's going to go through, is going to continue to really stress the importance of having an accountability partner as you're doing those kind of things. So make sure that you are touching base with them if you have one. If not, get one. And I'm still going to encourage you to do the Sunday night ritual, right? The Sunday night ritual is pretty vital, right? We still can plan out. It gives us an overall game plan. Now more so than ever, does it need to be in pencil as opposed to pen? Yeah, probably, right? There's some things that we're going to have to be adapting a little bit on the fly, and that's okay, right? It is what it is. And our book club that met yesterday, we're reading a book called The Happiness Advantage. It's all about failing forward, and it's saying, hey, look, same thing Michael covers in his Upward Spiral of Life, all those different concepts, right? Is that it's okay, but we need to be prepared to use adversity to help us grow, not to make us shrink, right? So those that will do that. So, all right, so here are your commitments to the team. Those are my suggestions to you. Do that. Don't forget about any of this, right? Again, there's no, now again, volunteering at a nonprofit, you know what, they need your help. There's gotta be some way that maybe you could help virtually, right? Is there anything I can do? Can I reach out to my sphere? Can I set up a drive that says, hey, look, if I can virtually shop through Publix, why can't I virtually send, big cans of beans from Costco to the orphanage that's serving kids? Or, you know what I mean? Why can't I still do that, right? You know me, I don't know. I'm just, thinking on the fly here, but still find a way to help others, right? Get outside ourselves. And worship, by the way, don't try and tell me you can't worship. Every church out there is doing virtual worship now, right? It's become the pretty hip thing to do. I watched 3 virtual services on Sunday, right? Because I follow people on the Eastern time zone, the Central time zone, the Western time. So it's kind of cool. I could see them all and attend services at different times. So even if I just had them playing in the background while I made, I got to be honest with you, I told you it's just me and Samuel down here, and my dad meals there's a limited menu. that my dad meals can do. So especially when I'm running, I just used up my last pound of ground bison. I like bison as far as my red meat. So I used my last pound of, because I can make a killer chili. Just follow that recipe on the back of the Bush's baked beans or Bush's chili beans thing. It works, and it make a big thing of rice, and it can last us a while. But I have eggs and everything else, so that's always good. And plus, I have been able to get ice cream. So as long as I eat in any of our meals with a chocolate banana shake, I'm a hero, right? I'm the best dad ever. So it's all good. So we got probably about 10 minutes here. Anything I can help you guys with, literally? I mean, any questions I can answer? Any words of encouragement I can give you? Or do you have questions about, by the way, if you have a question about that COVID addendum, I hope you guys saw my video. I had a video shot in about 6 hours after that came out because I saw some of the potential flaws coming down the pike on that. So watch that if you have questions on that. Remember, specifically, that's to be designed to be used specifically to do an extension of an already existing contract. It is not verbiage to be used in the midst of an offer, right? So just be aware of that. But anybody else? You guys are all muted, so just remind yourself of that if you want to add something or chime in.
I want to add something.
Hey, who's here? Irma, I didn't know you were there.
This is Nicole.
Oh, hey, Nicole.
Yeah, I was late because I thought it started at 11 and I had a reminder for 11 on my phone.
No, well, how many people? I got way more people on here than I thought. Sorry about that, guys. If I've been ignoring you, it's not been intentional. All right. I see Nicole and Diane. Who else is on? Let me see if I can get more.
I was going to ask about two things. I guess
Yeah.
it's not really business as much, but two. One is all the stuff we've been getting from the Realtor Association about the tax credits, about
Yep.
Self-employed tax credits.
Yep.
That's just like really confusing. Does anybody understand that? And then second, do you think if they create a lockdown in Tampa that realtors are going to be considered essential? Because it seems like different states have different rules.
100%. Both answers are to be determined. The tax credits are, I don't know if you guys were on when I said that I'm a little more privy to than most, just because I'm on some pretty high level committees based upon some positions that I hold. And we definitely have a seat at the table, all right, as far as are we going to get stimulus money, right? Now, independent contractors, there's going to be an income limitation on that, whether you're an employee or a independent contractor anyway. So if you made too much money, you're not getting stimulus, right? Which is, in my opinion, fine, right? But they're fighting everything they can with everything they have to make sure that independent contractors are included in that. Okay, number one. Tax credits, you're just going to have to really kind of monitor that, but I wouldn't become the professional. Do you have, there's a guy that's on our 100K page that used to be my accountant, but now that I've moved and I have out-of-state stuff as well, I had to change to a larger firm. But Todd Unbehagen with Paget Business Services, it's Unbehagen Advisors, I'm sorry, he posts some stuff out there. Every time there's an update, he's following it pretty quickly. And if you don't have an accountant, he might be a good one to reach out to if you have questions. But right now, it's unknown for sure because the bill hasn't been passed, right? Part of that's because they're trying to throw everything under the sun into a COVID relief bill, which is, and both sides, I mean, I'd love to tell you only one side's doing it, but it's not. Both sides are doing it. So they need to get past I need to get funding for a new bridge in my district because that's very relevant to COVID. Well, the answer is it's not, right? Or I need to get new funding for, the Kennedy Center in New York City, which, by the way, the last bill that was promoted by Nancy Pelosi had $600 million for the Kennedy Center funding in it. And that's why you see people getting upset about, hey, look, you know what, we need to help what we can and take care of things. So that being said, Nicole, I don't have an answer for you on that. The second thing is, as far as FAR and NAR also, our Florida Realtors and NAR both are fighting hard to get realtors labeled as that. But I'm going to encourage you to make sure you're being as creative as you possibly can to do as everything you can as remote as you can, right? There may be some things you absolutely have to do. I would ask yourself, does it have to do? Let's say it was 2 weeks. Is it absolutely going to be life or death into the life of this deal if it's not done in 2 weeks, right? If for some reason I can't get the photos shot, right? Can I have if the guy really wants it in the MLS, can the owner who lives there or maybe next door, or can I somehow get a photo of the outside and at least get it my one photo requirement on the deal and get it done. Now, if it's on an existing closing, reach out to your title company of choice to make sure that they're working and trying to help you out as remotely as possible. But those websites I mentioned, both NAR and Florida Realtors, are going to have very, very current, most up-to-date information that you're going to find.
Yeah, they've been sending a lot of emails, but it's a little confusing to read.
Well, and again, as far as the tax structure, I wouldn't pay attention to any of that until you talk to a tax person.
Yeah,
right?
I was gonna wait until
That's right.
they
Because
haven't.
there's so many,
tax
there's so many
person.
things floating back and forth. It's impossible to get our hands around it right now until there's a final settled bill that's been passed. Then there's really no reason to even try and get your mind wrapped around it until we know what it is, right? So
Yeah.
And so hopefully that'll be as soon as possible. Great question though.
I mean, I know that people have been it's been in showing time that have you traveled to any international countries and do you have any symptoms? And so like I got a request ironically today to do a showing of land. So technically I could just tell them to go by themselves. But the problem I'm having is that I've never met this client before. So I thought it would be better for me to go.
Well, I mean, I'm not so sure it would. I mean, why can't they go look at land on their own? And then if you want to meet in person, right, go to Zoom and sign up for a free account and say, hey, look, here's a link. Let's do a Zoom session or let's do a FaceTime call. You know, most phones have a video call option, right?
Yeah.
You could just do that. I'd say there's no reason to meet somebody you don't know.
And I've been reading that it says that, you know, as long as you treat all your clients the same, you're not doing anything wrong as far as fair housing goes. So I was thinking you can't do it for one person, but not another. But I mean, how do they enforce that?
That's right. And that's anytime, right? You don't want to ever have any different set of rules because, oh, that guy has a last name that sounds like whatever, right? So I'm not, you know, that would be an absolute no-no, right? So you treat everybody the same.
Yeah.
That way.
I know it's all about relationships. So part of me was like, I go and meet them. And then the other part of me is obviously like, why go? It's almost like my excuse. I don't have to drive there, you know?
No, well, you don't. You really don't. And especially right now, if you know, it's, they're asking us not to. Whether it's mandated not to, they're asking us not to. I'll tell you that.
I mean, it's one that doesn't have a lockbox. It's because it's land. So it's like out of all things, it's the,
yeah.
You know?
I'd say it's a no-brainer in my eyes to not meet with that. If you're asking me as your broker what I would do, and the answer would be is I would not go meet with them, right? But I'd find a way to do this or something else that we could.
Can you require first showings to be virtual, or then if you do that, you have to?
Yeah, I mean, you can require. You know, I would. I mean, here's the thing. We've got to shut down for 2 weeks. Right?
Yeah.
When I say shut down physical interaction. I've already done it. I've got my young son here, all right? And it's been now, today is 2 weeks. I have not I've not been within 6 feet of another human being for 2 weeks other than my son. All right? Because if that's what the greatest generation is asking me to do my part, I'm doing it, right? Now, I get it, right? I get we've got things to do. And so get creative, right? We've got technology available. If people are really jonesing to buy a home, which is great, right? But I think there are virtual tours. I'm encouraging people to write offers that have extended inspection periods, right? So that even if they haven't seen the place, by the time we can get free to go see the place, we can do it, right? We can actually, and have the ability, if I represent the buyer, to still cancel the contract during the inspection period. You guys are all very, very smart. I'm not, and there are ways to navigate this. And if you've got existing business that still wants to happen, just make it happen in a safe manner, right? Let's be sensible, number one. Number two, those of you, if you don't have business, I'm going to encourage you, if you guys didn't go back and see all my slides, watch these slides. I'll post them here by the end of today anyway, but use that as a mantra, right? Let's make sure we're educating ourselves. Let's make sure we're smart. Let's make sure we're doing everything we can to touch our sphere in a logical, sensible way, and help each other as best we can, right? And then be a resource for each other. So, cool. Anybody else? Nope. All good? Well, awesome. I'm going to jump off, because if you want to come back, all right, or have other questions or want to talk further about things like this, Nicole, I'm happy to do so. I just got to change Zoom links because it's a different link. It's virtual office hours. So if you go and find that one, that will be starting at 11 a.m.
I haven't thought anything right now, but maybe later on. I don't know. Right, that was my concern of this lockdown.
Okay.
I
Cool.
wasn't sure about the essential services versus
Yeah,
non.
we're not. We have not been. I have not heard anything that we've been labeled as essential at this point. I know here in Orange County, I'm in Windermere, right? So here in Orange County, we are locked down as of, I think, 11 p.m. tomorrow evening.
I've been hearing 12 p.m. I mean midnight, possibly tonight or tomorrow. I can't remember, but for Tampa. But I just
City of Tampa has one, I think, for tonight or tomorrow at midnight.
But
City of Tampa, but not Hillsborough in general.
Yeah, the problem I'm having is how are they going to define when you're allowed to leave? Like if you had to go help family, or if you.
They have that. Here's the thing, all right? If people were sensible, we wouldn't have to do this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So if you're out on the road in a lockdown situation, you better be going to where one of those, like I know the Orange County one, I read it. I mean, here's the thing, Nicole, too, right? Read what they put out, right? If they say lockdown except for going to the pharmacy to get your medications, going to aid an elderly person, all these kind of stuff, right? I get it, but you better have proof that that's what you're doing. And if you're going to go to those, and I'm not saying you, but if someone's going to go to those extents to say, I'm going to have a picture of my, some elderly person to pretend like that's my aunt that I'm going to go check on because I want to just go somewhere, right? Then you know what? Get COVID-19. You deserve it.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I think my problem is they said at one point, or like there's a lot of misinformation about housing being an essential need. And I understand that because if people are in the middle of selling their house or in the middle of trying to find a place to live.
I think there's going to be a differentiation between existing deals and non-existing deals, right? As far as what's considered, like the title companies are going to be considered essential to get these things closed. But all that being said, I'm not going to give you an answer, but I guarantee once it's settled, because it's not, monitor the National Association of Realtors and the Florida Realtors site, and they will give us updates.
Okay, so you're thinking like even current listings that aren't under contract won't be given precedence over ones that are under contract.
Again, I have no idea, Nicole. You're asking me to project something that I can't make a definitive answer on something that hasn't been settled, right? So I
thought like even Florida Realtor might be different than Tampa's rules. You know what I'm saying? Like the state of Florida might be different.
Correct. And they're probably going to say, hey, you need to pay attention to your local municipality, right?
Yeah.
To get that done. All right, I really need to jump off this one. I need to jump off this one. If you want to continue the conversation, switch over to the virtual office hours. I'll be there in 1 minute. Okay.
Okay. Well, thanks
guys, have a great day. If you need us, let me know.
Thanks, Bob.
Bye.
See ya.
See you guys.
Bye.